Barefoot Bruisers. This is origin number 4. So more of a Warrenclyffe style. I showed you this basically 2 weeks ago. I guess it maybe, if you look at it technically, it's maybe 2 videos ago. How about that? So, been working on it for about, I don't know, not quite a month, I guess. This one, the 05 and 06, kind of, I did an experiment with trying to do all of these together to see what would happen basically with them. As soon as I showed as soon as I showed 4, 5, and 6, a couple people reached out, and one was Josh. And Josh asked me if this one was claimed yet. And I said, nope, it's not. So he jumped on it. So this is Josh's. I've shown this like roughly how it was, but it's been refined and to his taste. So like, even though it's my build, I'm trying to do it to people's taste. So I think, you know, like relatively speaking, these are things that I would do on myself, but like with influence from the guy who's actually buying the knife, which is what a custom knife should be, right? To me. So number 1, let me just thank Josh working with me on this one. He wanted the swedge up top. Like when I originally did it, you see when I had drawn it, I wanted a smaller grind here and then a larger grind kind of moving back. Because of the way I did the fuller, how I did the plunge lines, it's really close to getting into that detent. Actually, the detent kind of goes off on the top end of this one. The detent track does. But it actually works out really well because when it's closing, it kind of slows it down just a little bit. Not something I want to continue to do. It was a mistake, 100%, but I saved it. It worked fine. But there is like a little bit of you're not going to be able to see it in light. It has to be really the right light, especially now that's acid stonewash. But I did an 8-inch first and then came back on hot on a 10. So you can see I kind of curved it down. That's blending the 10-inch into an 8-inch hollow grind. So roughed it with an 8-inch hollow grind, chased it with a 10-inch, blended it. So the tip would be a little bit more, not quite as, has more meat behind it. That's what I'm trying to say. But anyway, Josh wanted the swedge done. And at first, when I first did it, he was like, nah, I want you to do just a little bit more, man. And I'm glad he did, because I want him to get what he wants. And I want to kind of execute what people see, because I'm not always in on that, but he wanted it. And I think it came out. Hopefully you can see that. The swedge came out nice. I like the way it diamonds out right there. And honestly, I wouldn't have done it this way. If it was just left up to me and, I did it and then just sold it kind of thing, it wouldn't have been done the same way. So I'm super happy the way this one turned out. The detent's solid. I love the way the detent feels on it. It's not one of those, uncontrollable drop shuts. It has that little stop right there, almost like it feels like it does, and it sucks that detent back in. Super happy with the action and feel of this one. That's the one thing about from my perspective, making has become more or less the extension of the continuation of collecting. Like you get to a certain point in collection, like you could either not afford more stuff or, evolve it into like, I'm taking all the things I like from all the knives that I have, rolling them into my own kind of design and feel and stuff. And then some of it's like, honestly, me being a jig grinder instead of a freehand grinder, like I was showing that tutorial the other day, which is just slightly off. Let's see if I can turn it up here a little bit. That tutorial right there, and how he does his freehand grinds. That's what I was saying by that. Like there's that style of that is something I can't do. So that's what that's inspiration for me to try to push my skills in that regard, to try to get those skills. So there's some things that I see in my brain that I'm not able to execute on the knife, but we're getting there. Like, we're working towards that goal. So every time I try to rough a knife like this, I'll try to freehand it first and then go back behind it and straighten it back out. That's basically what happens. So I'm getting practice on every one of the rough grinds, at least most of them, not all of them. Like the swedge, I don't want to rough in that swedge. It's too critical, and if you can't already tell, like it comes to that point and it's super hard to kind of blend all that and make it go in. Like you're talking about a minute adjustment or a sneeze or whatever when you're doing that, and you've ruined it. So it's very much get your nerves, walk up to the wheel, have some confidence, and just do it. Like, that's pretty much what it's been for me anyhow. Can't speak for other knife makers. But yeah, this one, it's definitely getting there. Like I'm evolving as I'm doing it. As I mentioned before, I still have a hardware issue. I've ordered a ton. I mean, an absolute ton of hardware to try to replace this, and I've not found one thing that I can honestly say is a good replacement. I can find some that I can make work. So like Steve's knife hasn't got back yet. I sent him hardware to fix it. He wasn't able to fix it himself, so he's going to send it to me. It was supposed to get it yesterday, but of course, you know, USPS being what they are, they didn't arrive on time. The fix for it is basically going to be a completely different style of hardware here. It's going to have to be. There's really no way of doing it. I haven't directly talked to Tie Connector to see if they would offer something, but in looking around for me, I'm not finding a readily available without being a custom made type piece of hardware to replace this. And all the hardware I'm finding is all Allen wrencher socket heads. And I'd have to put a washer underneath it because they're basically like, it's 300 thou, a little over 300, like 5/16-ish head. And it's a 1/4 inch hole. So that's not enough meat to back it. So you have to put a washer on top of it and then countersink that washer. So it's going to be an ordeal. So I went with the same hardware I've been using. After these 6 are done, I might change hardware. But for now, it is an issue I am aware of and I'm working on a fix, but I don't have it. And these 6 will basically be, you know, possibly new hardware might be needed. What else was I trying to say? So yes, super happy with the detent, super happy with the lockup. Let me show you that lockup real quick. It's a touch sticky right now, but you can still see that it's pretty early in on that lockup. Overall, like I said, overall feel for the knife, like the way I always kind of judge it, and I was talking to my wife about this other day, and actually I briefly talked to Josh about it too, is like, if I saw this knife, would I buy this knife? I would 100% buy this knife. So that's what I know. That's how I know that I'm doing what I need to be doing, because it's like, it's definitely, if I saw this, I'm like, man, how much is that, dude? I want to buy it right now. I still have a weird aversion because Josh wanted to pay me for this Friday, and I'm like, no, dude, let me get it done, and then we'll do the money. Because like this sort of thing, like the blade hitting that backspacer and chipping that blade out, which sucks, but it's easy to fix now because there's no stress on me, right? It's not like I promised the knife it's already sold and it's got to go Monday. Now I'll just take Monday and repair it, you know, like not a big deal. It's basically going to take the grind and make it a little bit thicker towards the tip. Perfect. It's, you know, it's going to remove, I don't know, 30 thou material right there. Perfect. I don't care. And then hopefully that issue will be fixed. Like sometimes you have to do it once or twice. Like, but basically I'm just going to sharpen it. I'll probably use a belt to rough it in and then kind of like test it, make sure it's not hitting that backspacer, and then kind of go from there. It's an unfortunate thing. As I was fitting all this, obviously that wasn't an issue, and then it became an issue because like I shine light in there to get paper and feeling through there, make sure everything's clear, no problems at all. Just a little bit of material removed off the blade. Like it doesn't have to be much, and it changes, you know, a little bit removed here on this changes a ton out here, you know. Anywho, super happy with Origin number 4. Josh, I hope you enjoy it, bro. I think it came out badass. I'm super happy with it. Like I said, it's not 100% done, but for the practical purposes, it's going to be, y'all never see it again. I'll probably take pictures for Instagram or something like that. But super happy with how Origin number 4 came out. Now, Origin number 5, as I was saying a minute ago, when I showed that video, that Origin number 5 had someone interested in it too, and it was Jeff. And unfortunately, during the heat treat, well, it wasn't during the heat treat. I was trying to straighten like an idiot. So sometimes I've been noticing, like for a long time there, I just kind of, you know, as you go into knife making, you learn different things. And I always heard about people straightening, and I'm like, I don't really see a huge point. My blades coming out of heat treat will, you know, walk a little bit, but usually I'm finding different techniques to kind of straighten them back out afterwards. Don't really worry about trying to do the steel, but I've been watching a lot of people that straighten blades. So I thought, well, you know, why not? I'll try to straighten the blade. Well, being the heathen I am, you know, if the blade's not moving, what does it need? It needs more pressure, right? It needs more force until it goes right in half. And when this thing went in half, like it literally shot, it probably landed 10 foot from each other. So yeah, it exploded. Good thing is, if you look at the grain structure looks awesome. Like there's some oils and stuff on it, but like you can see, that's just me. But yeah, the actual grain structure looked great. So heat treat wise, it's fine. Just don't be a freaking heathen and, you know, trying to straighten the damn thing. I thought it was still warm coming out of temper. I took it right out of temper oven and tried to straighten it, had gloves on, everything like that. But yeah, don't be a heathen like me. So anyway, that was Monday, I think, Monday or Tuesday when I did that. I can't remember now. So I had to make a replacement blade. So I got him a replacement blade roughed in. It's basically pretty much prepped for heat treat. So tomorrow again, we'll do heat treat again. Or yeah, most likely tomorrow, possibly Tuesday, depending on what happens here. But then we'll get that one going for Jeff. But 06 is still available if you want to go back and look at 06. If not, when I get to it and it's done, I'll put it up for sale. But that's, you always get pluses and minuses. I've noticed in the knife making is like you take your small wins. Sometimes just the small wins to get you through the tough times. Like a lot of work to get these origins done. A lot more work than I anticipated when I first started building. Like it seems like you can just throw it on there and do this, and you're done. But it's a lot of like going back and tweaking this and tweaking that, and like the tweaking at the end. Like I'm starting to realize like I gotta allow myself basically a week after heat treat to kind of sort of iron one out and focus on just one. Like I gotta kind of put the other stuff aside. But when I was doing heat treat, I did have time to kind of work on some other things because the power I have at the shop is really not enough to be doing a lot else. I can't be running the mill and doing heat treat because it draws too much power at once. Once the ovens are fired up, it doesn't require as many amps. You can kind of get away with a little bit of running the grinder and that sort of thing, but it'll pop a main breaker pretty quick. The wires run to this whole shop aren't big enough to control that much amperage or to carry the load for that much amperage, I guess I should say. So I'm gonna pause here and I'm gonna show you, I did this midweek update for you. So this is a midweek update. I don't really do the whole, I don't know, modding job or anything like that. Never really have, but I did do some of that stuff. But, I offer stuff in trades. And then some of my good friends I'm willing to do work for. And don't be offended if you're not one of those people. It's just most of the time it's people that I've done work for before. So I'm just explaining this ahead of time. So the first one is long overdue. It is the one that JD, who helped me with the other Nkosi that is now back and mine again, but I'm going to reblade and sell again. He helped me with the inlays on that. And the transaction for that would be to do a reblade. And so this is the reblade in K390 that does have it's a bull groove with a little ball groove at the bottom of it. So it's like what I'm currently doing. And then on this side, we didn't do anything this time. So last time I had the hole with where's it at? That's hanging over there. I don't want to show you, but it had a full that went the whole thing. But then when I turned it on the side, it was super thin at that point, and the blade just bent. So I think it's because it was so thin right there. Honestly, don't know. All this is still trial and error. But anyway, just a final show of the K390 reblade on JD Zahn. The good thing about what this is, I did make my own studs for this one, so it's got larger studs. It really is not going to affect anything other than the lockup for this one. But his stock blade, or I guess it wasn't stock, the blade he had on this that came from a regrind will bolt right back up to it. So if he gets this and hates it, he can just put his other blade right back on it. No big deal. So this is 100% removable, changeable, whatever. He can, if he gets another Zahn and wants to put this blade in that, he can do that too. So that's it. And the Zahn with the reblade. So that was, like I said, long overdue. That was kind of one of those favor for someone who did me a favor kind of things. Next will be the kickstand I showed you. I called it the lightweight kickstand, or light kick, however you want to call it. And me and Ev worked out a trade on that one. Issue with it is he wanted it modified, which I didn't blame him. I knew, and he knew that the ano had to go on it. So we'll start there, I guess. So now it's that chocolate brown kind of stuff that I've been doing. Basically, it's the treatment that comes right out of after you blast it, you put it in the oven for like 1600 degrees. Second was the blade. I told him if it was me, I would just re-etch it. So that's exactly what I did. Sanded it down and re-etch it. I love the way this etch it came out this time. It looks a little more brighter. So maybe I took it to a little finer degree. Just a little mark on it somewhere in here when I was putting this stud in it. Yeah, I knocked it right off the bench and hit the floor. Of course, it landed on top of chips. And it got scratched up a little bit. It's not bad, but, it's definitely in a better condition now than it was before I sent it to him. So I'm happy about that. The other part that you probably already seen is G10 scale. So he had originally asked me for speed holes. As a motorcyclist, when I hear speed holes, I think you want to just go ham on it and do a bunch of holes. And I had no idea what he wanted, so that's what I did at first with a bunch of holes. I could put more holes in it. I could take hole, see some have bigger chamfers, some don't have little chamfers, a little different degree of chamfers. All these are variables, but when I got down to this point, I was like, I'm already not digging it. So I showed it to him, and he's like, no, I was thinking like 3 holes. So my definition of speed holes and his definition of speed holes didn't mesh. So we ended up taking this scale, which is the one I had off the chisel ground one, and I basically just had a counterbore with the screws a little more because it's a slightly thicker scale. But the squareness of it with the pattern on the back actually makes it feel overall much better, for me at least. Like everything else worked out, all the holes mounted up, everything like that. I did put a ceramic bearing back in, or ceramic detent back in this one, and it just slightly crisped it up. Just the ceramic just slickens a little bit everything up, but this still has the stock bearings in it. So quick update on kickstand and the K390 reblade midweek. So from that midweek update, hopefully you've seen I finally got that last reblades on done. So I'll owe nobody reblades at this point. There's nothing on the plate. So like I can pretty much concentrate on what I want to concentrate. So if I do a reblade from here on out, and I'm going to, there'll be my knives that I'll either put for sale or I want to do something different to them. So as they come, I'll do that. I'm kind of thinking I might do a few and then offer them up around the Christmassy time, depending on what happens here. I got a couple suggestions, like doing other things besides knives, or maybe smaller knives or something like that. And like, I don't think anybody really offers reblades for sale. Like they're a custom maker that does it reblades. I don't think anybody does that. So I think like maybe that might be my thing. I might do reblades that I like and then offer them up. And if someone takes them, that's cool. And be like certain times of year, like Christmassy time. I don't know. Christmas usually isn't a good time for buying knives from what I see, because like everybody's tight on money trying to buy their family stuff. So maybe it's not the best time, but I think I'm gonna try it this year and see what happens. So if the reblades come out, hopefully they'll all, we'll see. Maybe they'll move, maybe they won't. But anyway, I bought this one from Adam, and I got it from a stinking good deal. Adam's a bro that, he's bought sawtooths and Scottu scales and all. So he's been, with the channel a long time. I think this is going on almost 6 years. I think 5.5 years that I've been doing this. So it's been a while. Like it's been a long time. So anywho, I don't own any Hinderers or ZTs at this point until I got this one. So I got a Hinderer ZTs. This is the 560, I believe, if I remember, if memory serves right, or 561, or one of those 5 somethings. And obviously Adam was doing it left-handed. I don't know if he is left-handed or not, but it's a right-handed knife. So I don't know what generation. They have different generations. I can't tell by looking at it. I think it's the titanium lock face. So I'm assuming, it doesn't have the lock bar insert. I'm assuming this is one of the earlier gens, because I believe the later gens had lock bar insert, but don't quote me. When I was really into ZTs, I kind of knew more about that stuff and cared more about it. But at this point, don't really care. But can you see a fat reblade on this one? Can you see something different on this one? I can. So look for that flipper to go. Look for a nice fat blade, because, ZT claims overbuilt, especially in these days. Moderately, I guess, for a production knife for sure. And I definitely I still like the look of this. I just want to do something different with it. And obviously getting it back in my hand after, years of not handling one of these, it's very slick. So everything's going to change. What it ends up looking like, I don't know. But I got it for a good enough price that's probably going to be one of those, you'll see it after the reblade's done kind of thing. Back burner, when I do heat treat, there's no point in go getting all that liquid nitrogen for one knife. So I try to prep it and get a couple more. So I haven't started on this one. That's why heat treat might be on Tuesday instead of Monday, because I might try to sneak in a reblade. It's basically I'm roughing it in, and then, you got to finish it after heat treat. But like I need to spend at least a half a day or so, figuring out what I want to do and that sort of thing. I had shown you, or I showed Instagram a picture of that blue heater I got from trade from Anthony. That blue heater got sent back to Todd for him to look at. He wanted to do some changes to it, and I wanted him to blast it. And originally I thought just blast the blue, That's why I was sending it to him, because he does a real heavy blast that I kind of really like. And he's like, dude, I know your style. Let me just do it. I'm like, all right, cool. So do what you want to do, man. Like, because he was wanting to, this backspacer had another thing on it. But look, check this out, Anthony. This is not me. This is Todd doing this, man. So Todd definitely knows my style. Look at this shit, man. Did he not nail that or what? Look at that. Look how badass that looks now. I know some of you ain't this style, but like shades of gray, this is perfect, man. And this is a Gen 1. This is the original MOW, so it doesn't have the, what do you call it, lock bar insert. I'm sure there's other things that I don't know that he's changed. Maybe he could tell us or whatever. But I will say that this one it's probably because it's been worn in so much, but the bearings are way smooth. And then this detent, look at that. This sucks in a good detent. So the detent feel on this one and the general feel on this one, yeah, it feels like a nice, pair of worn-in boots. Like they just fit perfect, and that's exactly how this one feels to me. Not that I don't enjoy my new one; it's just different and cool. And this is I should have brought the other one out, and I will do a side by side eventually. But the blue one turned into this. Todd knocked this one out of the park. Super awesome job on that, and I appreciate you again, Todd, if you ever watch this. But UPS, the USPS, should I say, don't deliver nothing. They literally, I was here with the shop doors open, and he sent it, or his wife sent it, like signature required. They didn't even stop, honk the horn, nothing. They just literally throw a pink slip in and just drive on. I don't think they probably didn't even have the package with them. So like literally like go pick it up from the post office. So it's always, for me, it's a 35-minute drive over there. So I'll lose an hour and 10 minutes just to go get the freaking thing, because post office sucks. Oh no, I ran about post office a lot, but like they just, from my area, the rural area where I live at, yeah, they suck. And I'm waiting on 2 packages that were supposed to be here yesterday. Steve's knife and Tomas sent me one, and both of them didn't show up. Why? Because the post office sucks. Finally, I showed you the Damascus kickstand, the kick light that changed the scales on, ended up going to Evan. And I kind of knew it was Evan's knife. As soon as I picked it up, I kind of knew it was Evan's knife. And when you see knives like this, you kind of sort of, like me at least, think, if it's not 100% for me, who's it going to? And who do you think of when you see that? So as soon as I saw that knife, I thought of Evan. I went over at the video. The knife turned out great. He got it. He liked it. So it was a matter of working out the deal, right? And he offered this up, and I was like, oh, hell yeah. He didn't think I'd really be interested. I don't think he was. But there's 2 people I call when I have knife trouble, and that's Todd and Donnie. And he actually traded me for this knife that I worked on a while back. This is, I believe, Ripley number 11. This is the one that if you remember, if you watched the channel long enough, you see I kind of rounded the back of this pocket clip and the back of the frame off. It was to a point, and he didn't like the point, so he had me do it off, and then I refinished the Damascus, and I had just blasted aluminum oxide, blasted the handle, and he ended up sending it back to Donnie and got that black and tie. So Donnie does a real good job in that black and tie. I didn't want to mess with it, and I probably still wouldn't even to this day, because I don't have the means to replace it. Like, so if it went to Donnie and he messed it up, he could just make another scale. I mean, I'm sure it ain't that easy, but he has the skills to repeat what he's already done. I do not. Like, if I messed it up, I'd be like, I can make one that's like it, but it ain't going to be, 100% Donnie. So I'm glad I went back to Donnie. I'm glad Donnie refinished it. But yeah, super proud. Look at that, man. The Damascus one, like, I don't think I could have asked for a better, example of one of Donnie's, especially his early work, dude. This is number 11. Dude, you're crushing it, bro. Absolutely crushing it. So super happy to add this one to the collection. No, it's not a bruiser. It's fairly thin stock. It's long, Slim Jim, whatever you want to call it. This is more proud of my brother, friend, fellow knife maker, whatever. And it's one of his earlier pieces. Like, this is, once again, it's kind of like the Tory and even Todd's work, like seeing the Gen 1 versus the Gen 2 stuff. These are all inspirational style pieces. And as a collector, this is probably, especially Damascus too, like it'll definitely be more of a collector piece that I'm keeping, both as inspiration on how to get there. And it's not like, I guess for me, it's like Todd's that voice of experience. He's got tons of experience with fabrication and machining, and he's been building nice, decade and a half, 2 decades longer than me. So like, he's been through all the problems I've been through. sometimes he's been through them so long ago that he don't remember, basically what the problem was. Donnie's a couple years ahead of me kind of thing. So like they're more recent, and Donnie's tapped into more social media stuff actually for knife making than I am. So honestly, I can get a lot of information from both of them. So it's good to have both those resources for me. I don't have a ton of knife making buddies. My other buddy, Dave, who makes fixed blades, which I don't think you can see that. No, it's out of camera. Here locally, like, we try to get together, but it's probably been over a year since I hung out with Dave. So like his is more on the fixed blade stuff. And when you see me do the fixed blade, he's the one that made the sheath. He's always the one that he did the one that made the materials for the handles. Like, so I can ask him a lot of questions about fixed blades, but when it gets to like, folders and that sort of thing, you have knowledge that you tap into from friends, and he's just not one of those folder people. Rambling stills. Where was I going from there? So anyway, I'm just super happy to add both the MOW original to the collection and a Bless Ripley to the collection. If you like seeing Bless's Predator, man, that first one he did for Neil, that Neil snagged before, or it actually got to the show that Neil was supposed to go to the show. He didn't get to go to the show, so I saw it before he did. But the original prototype of that one, as soon as I saw that design, I was like, dude, that's a sick design. It just needs to be beefier for my taste, and it would be 100%, something I would go for. And I'm still tempted, honestly, to get on Donnie's books for a Predator anyhow. Like, I haven't even talked to him about it, but I probably should. It's a badass knife. I definitely like it. But, like, I know he's busy, and as a fellow knife maker, like, I'm kind of like, I want to let him handle his business and not get in the way of like customers. Because yes, I can be a customer, but I almost consider it more like, same with Todd at this point. Like, I'm kind of more friends than customer at this point. Like, I own his knives. I've given him money for knives, and I guess it makes me a customer. But I'd rather him take care of his customers before me, kind of thing. Anyhow, I don't know. It's a weird way of looking at it, but when you start making, like, you value time differently, because like, it's not necessarily a money thing. It's a time thing. Like, I only have so much time. Like, I still get hit up occasionally about regrinds or mods and that sort of thing. And like, it's not like I don't want to help and do these things. It's like every time I do those things, it takes away from these things. And there's only so much time to go around, right? But who knows? None of us are promised tomorrow. So, got to do what you can with the time you got. I suppose that's the I guess ultimate conclusion that I've come up with. Anywho, I'm gonna call it there. I've been rambling. I'm still a rambling fool. Hope y'all have a great week. Hopefully have Origin number 5 done next week, or at least close enough where I can kind of show you. Maybe even working on 06. Don't know. All right, y'all be cool. Later, y'all.